he said, you're in a new country, you're in a new people, and you have to understand the thought ways of these people. Why would you learn English? Because you can't talk to living beings at their level of understanding unless you know not just their language, but the ideas and feelings and psychology under that language. So he'd say to us right away, everybody who knows Chinese has to learn English. Everybody that knows English has to learn Chinese, because this Dharma is going to be going back to India and China. And the unlikelihood is you guys will be bringing it back, just as it came there. And so you have to be versed. So the whole reason behind the educational system was to expand your understanding of the deep ground from which different living beings would come, so you could speak that language in a way that communicated to them. And we're just beginning that. I don't think, our translations are just bridging into other languages, but he wanted the whole Tripitaka to be translated in every major language of the world. And he wanted us to be able to be versed in that, to be able to go out and share, not to propagate or convert, but to make this available. When I first came in at the morning recitation at Golmount Monastery, we'd stop for 5 minutes, and whoever was the Wano at that time would read from the Platform Sutra. We get little bits and pieces every day, and then you'd spend the day letting that sort of sink in and sit. And then Master Hua at one point saying, this text has everything in it you need to know to be a Buddhist. Moreover, it has everything you need to know to be a Buddha. And I thought, whoa. And we found it on the highway to be really a true companion. It's very direct, it's very straight. And if you wanted to get close to what Master Hua's sound was, his actual voice, his method, and his teaching, it's in that text. It's very, very direct and straightforward. So that was it. But there was a request that came because they were going to republish it in China, in mainland China.
Oh, right.
And they wanted to get a new version, and there was a window to do it within. And somebody said, if we don't take it on, it won't get done. And so I just had the impulse to take it on and begin that project. And then the new translation then was used by them to be put into a 3-text single volume of the Tao Te Ching, I think, the Lunyu, the Confucian Analects, and then 6 Patriarch Sutra. And then they're going to do a separate one with Chinese and English interface. So that was the first impulse. But in the doing of this, it was almost comparable to doing a pilgrimage again. It was so intense, the concentration that had to be brought. Because what happened was, to do a good translation, Master Hua says, you have to also do a good transformation. You cannot translate without transforming yourself. And so every little niche and cranny of my covered over stuff got under pressure there, because I couldn't get at the translation without bringing my mind to a sort of purity and focus in order to get into it. And while that was happening, again, there were dreams back and forth. So I'd get to a passage, I couldn't figure it out. I'd have a dream and interpret, that means this and this. And I go back the next day to work on this and get it to English. And then Heng Sure and I would work on it together. Bless technology. He's in Australia, I'm here. And so we start to Skype at different times. And again, we're together across continents, united by this text, working on it. We both enter this state, and we forget about everything else to get this translation going. So it's quite a story in terms of that. But the point I'm making was, Master Hua really, really believed there was no translation without cultivation. That no matter what language or scholarly ability you had, you could get the letter, but you couldn't get the spirit. And it's a spirit that has to be conveyed through a different medium, and that can only come about through cultivation. And so I think over time, as we all cultivate, our translations are getting, I would say, better, because as we transform, we're able to enter. These are spiritual documents, and only the Spirit can fathom them. So unless you're cultivating the Spirit, you can't get at it. They're just a string of words, and sometimes meaningless words. But once you get the spirit of that, the intent, then it can come alive.
一切的经典都是教人修行的一个法载。那么这种法载有佛说的，有菩萨说的，有祖师说的，也有阿罗汉说的。 也有化人说的，也有天人说的，所以啊，这个经典是一样的，其中这个义理是不同的。在所有的佛经都是从印度翻译成中文，流通到每一个国家去。那么从印度翻译成中文，可是中国所有的佛经都是属于翻译本，只有六祖坛经是中国人所说出来的，而没有翻译。中国人是谁说的呢？就是六祖大师他所说的。六祖大师本来是一位不认字的能人，以后因为听《金刚经》应无所住而生其心，有所感悟，那么前去到黄梅亲近五祖弘忍大师，弘忍大师传给他以心印心的妙法，向上一招。那么六祖大师继承心印法门，来接续佛祖的慧命，而说这个六祖坛经。这一部经是祖师所说的，那么现在把它翻译成英文本，这是佛的心印法门，来永远传流到西方社会里边，也就是希望西方的人读诵这一部经典，研究这一部经典，每一位都能成佛，每一位都能成菩萨，每一位也都能成作为祖师。这是翻译这一部经典最重要的一个目的，希望见到这一部经的和闻到这一部经的都能结共成佛道。希望这一部六祖坛经流通到什么地方，什么地方就是正法注释，令一切的众生都早成佛道。那么这就是这个六祖坛经的翻译本一点的重要性。要是很详细说，就是这一部经就是宝所，这一部经就是佛的真身，这一部经也就是众生的慈悲父、慈悲母，这一部经能生出来无量无边的佛，能生出来无量无边的菩萨，能生出无量无边的祖师。那么西方人见到这一部经就同成佛道，也早证菩提。简单所说的作为本经前边的一个序文。